Yo, what's up, guys? This is your man OA4. I'm coming to you back again. My last video, I was talking about the tactical loadout. You can look for that link somewhere around here somewhere. Anyway, as we were talking about the tactical loadout, I was talking about the gear and how you're able to combine the tactics that you use when you play paintball or airsoft into real steel shooting. So in my last video, I talked about me joining the tactical games and competing in the tactical games which isn't until May of 2025. Right now is January, and I'm training my butt off right now. Yo, I hate cardio. I hate cardio even more when you have to wear the 15-pound tactical vest. All of this stuff. But as I talked about last time, this tactical vest is the one that I also use to play paintball with now, and it's all set up the way that I want it to. So if you're taking a look at this tactical vest, you'll see the tackle pouches in the way that they're set up. They're arranged so it makes it easier for me to pull magazines for both paintball and real steel shooting. You'll see how my gun is offset to the side, so when I put it in my quick release holder, it's easily out of the way. It's not getting in the way of the magazines. You'll see that the vest is set up a little bit higher. And my drop hip holster is more like an offset hip holster. So it's not too far down, so it's not wiggling around, and it's not too high up that it's getting in the way of my vest itself. So let's talk about that. So a lot of people wear drop hip holsters and it's halfway down their hip. I have played paintball with the drop hip holster for so long. The thing that I've realized is when it's too far down your hip, it starts to flop around like side to side. And if you have longer legs like I do, it's gonna slide all the way down, and then you go to crawl and then you gotta pull it back and you gotta readjust it. Having an offset holster where it has a high hip band makes it so much easier. And you don't have to worry about your stuff moving around. And that brings me to my next point. When you're putting stuff on your gear belt, on your vest, you got to identify where the load is going to be. So it's not just like sliding around. Too much space creates that little feel where it's going to start to bounce and wiggle, and you don't want any of that. And that's why my vest is set up the way that it is. So for those of you that are doing both the real steel shooting and paintball or airsoft, it's important to check out your gear and get out there and play with it. But let's also talk about dry firing when it comes to real steel shooting. Everybody already knows that when you shoot guns where it has real bullets, it costs a lot more. Like the rounds for a 5.56, right now I spend $10 for a box of 20. And it starts to add up kind of quick, because if you think about a magazine that not only holds, but holds 35 rounds, it adds up really fast when you're working on drills and you're trying to sight your rifle in. You're going to go through 100 rounds easy without even thinking about it. But you don't always have to do that to practice the fundamentals. Like, for example, acquiring targets when looking through a scope. Fundamentals you can work on with dry firing. Let me show you some examples of what you could do for dry firing. All right, that's set up. That's a way that you can work on dry fire target acquisition. That's just pulling your gun up, looking through the scope, seeing if you can acquire the target anywhere in your house. Like the smaller a target is, the easier it is for you to acquire. And then you can also work on your trigger control. This is the same thing for paintball. So when you're shooting and you're moving, rather than jamming the trigger, waiting for that impact recoil, or just not thinking, you can practice the way that you actually pull the trigger and manage your heart rate under stress. But let's jump into other things that you can do. All right, guys, this is an M4 shotgun. So there's two different versions. Mine is made by a company called Panzer. So this is a Panzer M4 tactical shotgun. The real one is called a Benelli M4. So this is a Benelli clone. Same size, interchangeable parts, $1,000 less. So I took it to the range. It works beautifully. But we're not talking about going to the range right now. We're talking about dry fire techniques. And one of the dry fire techniques, especially when it comes to a shotgun like this, is understanding like the fundamentals. For example, one of the first fundamentals, so when you run out of ammo in the shotgun, remember it only holds standard 5 rounds. After you do, the slide locks back. Practicing, releasing the slide, flipping the gun over, boom, grabbing your shotgun shells, yep, and then loading them in is a perfect way of doing it. But that's not all, because now you got a lock and slack. So now it's completely loaded. But the question is, aren't we dry firing? Why did I just put live rounds into a shotgun inside my home? Well, I didn't. These are dummy rounds. And it's important that when you're doing dry fire, you keep your dummy rounds completely separate from your real rounds, because it's about safety. But these dummy rounds have absolutely nothing in them, but they're the right size and they almost have the right feel. So when you're loading them in, you can quickly do it, feeling all John Wick. But at the same time, look at this. I can lock it out, it drops out. So it gives you the ability to practice loading, unloading, and also pulling the trigger. Just like that. One of my other favorite things to do with dry fire training while you're at home is reloads. Quick story. One of my guys, his name is AJ. We play paintball. So we started going out shooting. He smoked me. He was like, hey, let's go ahead and do a game, which is shoot and reload. So you take one shot, you drop out the mag, reload the next mag, and take another shot as fast as possible. The first time I did it, I didn't even realize how bad I was at the reload drill. I immediately came home and I was like, oh no, we gotta do it, we gotta do it, we gotta do it, we gotta do it. So doing that and recognizing that, boom, when you drop it out, putting another one in, it's about working the technique. It's about getting back, getting the magazine in, and getting your scope on target as quickly as possible. Target acquisition, dry fire training helps with both paintball and real steel shooting. But wait, there's more. I'm going to get you some images of what I'm doing right now in order to practice my skills, not just dry firing, but dummy firing when it comes to using my paintball gear. So I'm gonna use my paintball rifle, my paintball pistol. I'm gonna build some stuff out in the backyard, and I'm gonna work on the transition. And I'm also gonna get my workouts in so I can try to raise my heart rate and then do things like shooting. And it involves first strike rounds, reusable ones. Wait and see. All right, this is your man, OA4. And if you haven't already, I need you to subscribe and hit the like button because, yeah, I'm gonna need you to help me pay for some of these bullets.